All right, let's bring this back together. Welcome to our afternoon session. We're going to roll into some more short talks in just 10 minutes, but before we do that, we're going to hear from Teresa Jennings from LexisNexis. I'll tell you what's written down and why I'm excited. Terry serves as the head of rule of law development on the commercial side of Lexis and the vice president and treasurer of the LexisNexis Rule of Law Foundation. That means she works with all sorts of groups all over the world, as we're going to hear about, has been recognized by the UN for that work. For me personally, I think what's interesting about this is making that connection between the statistical work that we do and that practical impact. That question from judges, why does this matter? Well, Terry meets with those people and talks to them and is going to tell us about it. And after she tells us about that, she's also going to tell us about a challenge that they're introducing for this same conference next year, and I'm excited to learn more about that as well. So take it away. Okay.
And I'm going to try to be a bit more interactive, but as I told my colleagues, I am a little sleep deprived because my plane came in late yesterday. So I am going to try to walk around while I talk to you to keep it really fun and interactive, but it is written down. Does this work? Is this working?
I think I've learned to
wait. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So I am delighted to be here and to talk to all of you today about something that is my personal passion, which is the rule of law. I want to thank our host. There are a number of them in the room, Harvard Law School, and also my teammates here from LexisNexis Ravel Law. I'm honored to celebrate what you're doing here today. It is so important that you're looking at important trends which will change how we look at these case decisions. And I hope from my remarks you'll see why. LexisNexis for the last several years has had a core mission and vision to advance the rule of law around the world. For us, this is not mere corporate social responsibility. It is something deeper. And I didn't do slides, but if I had slides, there is a model of corporate social responsibility from Archie Campbell back in the 1990s that say, first, you have to be profitable. And next, as a business, you have to be legal. And then you have to be ethical. And then at the very last, at the very tippy top, kind of the cherry on top, corporate social responsibility. What are you doing to give back? I am deeply proud that our CEO, who by the way is a graduate of this fine institution, flipped this on its head. And he made our core mission and vision to advance the rule of law the basis of everything we do. And in fact, it's the reason why we turn on our computers every day. Our General Counsel, Ian McDougall, who is my direct boss, took this mission and vision and he defined it for us. And he took on the role of defining what the rule of law is. Because if you are listening to the political diatribe, and as I mentioned earlier this morning, I kind of come from a political background. You hear both sides using rule of law, but without defining it. Ian read all the definitions of the rule of law, and he boiled it down to 4 key elements. Transparency of the law. And this is a core element of what you're doing with the CAT project here. Is it written down? Can you read it? Second, access to true legal remedy. Is there a trusted system in a society to get a fair outcome? Equal treatment of the law. The law applies to me and Nick. Is it going to treat Nick differently because of something about Nick? His race, his gender, his religion, that he cannot or does not choose to change. And then finally, an independent judiciary. And a number of you today were looking at the statistics about what comprises a truly independent judiciary. But what happens when that law is being interpreted by a judiciary that is no longer independent? We find that this is the basis of a firm rule of law, and it's actually vitally important. Why? Because the UN has come out with new statistics that there are 5.1 billion people around the world who are outside the umbrella protections of the rule of law. And that number is rising. So there are people around the world who don't have basic justice, who don't have freedom, who don't have the ability to trust a system to get a fair outcome. We know from the LexisNexis Rule of Law Impact Tracker that the rule of law isn't just something that's nice to do. It's fundamental to a whole society. So we know from the data that we pulled together from the World Bank, the World Justice Project, and Transparency International, that when the rule of law is strong in a country, certain other socioeconomic factors are also strong. So when the rule of law is strong, your GDP is going to go up. When the rule of law is strong, your life expectancy is going to increase. But when the rule of law is strong, you can also prevent child death, child mortality. You can prevent corruption, and you can prevent homicides. So these are real people's lives. People around the world, like yourselves, are examining this problem, and they're doing it right now. So Jackie mentioned at the beginning that I've been honored by the UN. It is for my work on advancing the rule of law. And I don't know if you know the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but in 2015, the United Nations came together and unanimously voted to support the advancement of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, one of which, Goal 16, is peace, justice, and strong institutions, where the rule of law formally sits. When you think about politics and you think of how hard it is to get unanimous support of anything, this is the member states, the world, saying that they are going to do this by 2030. The rule of law was not an easy ask. This was the hardest of the 17 goals to get passed, because the measurement of the rule of law is so incredibly hard. If you're measuring how much plastic is coming out of the oceans, you can measure how much plastic is in the oceans and how much plastic comes out of the oceans. But how do you measure justice? How do you measure peace? Countries are struggling with this now. They come together next month in July at the high-level political forum in the United Nations, and they start measuring their own progress on peace, justice, and inclusion. And they are looking for the data and the analytics and the technology to make this lasting and worthwhile. This is so important that this past year, LexisNexis launched the LexisNexis Rule of Law Foundation. And what we are doing with the foundation is working with member states and civil society, including academics and government sector, business sector, and others, to come together with answers on tangible problems, answers to tangible problems that will help create new solutions that are lasting. Our South Africa office, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of projects that we've worked on that are employees, and we have 10,000 of them across the world supporting customers in over 180 countries. So I'm going to come to Sierra Leone in a moment, but first I'm going to talk about what our team in ReTech did. They are the entities that scan the patent submissions for the U.S. government, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. They were working with Freedom House, a civil society organization that measures freedoms around the world. They had 40 years worth of books with data sitting in books. And in fact, they didn't have all their books. Some of them we had to create on eBay. This team used their 2 volunteers per person per year that you get, 2 days per year, and they bundled them together. And they used about 1,000 man-hours. So where's the individual talking about your RA? We had a massive amount of RA. And they ripped apart the books, they scanned them, they OCR'd them, and then they checked every single data point, every table, every sentence, to make sure it was exact. What that did was unlock the data for future use, 40 years worth of freedom in the world. What that meant for our employees, one of them came to me at the elevator and said, I had no idea that what I did every day could advance global human rights. I feel different about LexisNexis, and I am proud to work here. Ravellaw, our good partner, has been working on the rule of law since before they were part of LexisNexis. And they were the ones with the vision to come to Harvard and to start looking at how to build this case database. What will this mean? Well, you're already starting to see what it means in the United States. And by the way, the rule of law is not over there somewhere. It is not the West telling the rest. This is a problem that every country in the world needs to look at with clean, clear eyes and face what they can do. But what I see coming out of the discussions today and what you're building are solutions that are going to quite literally change the world. I've been to Sierra Leone. Just a couple of months ago, I was there working with their judiciary. They had a civil war back in the 1990s. It lasted 10 years. And then they had the Ebola crisis. We know that there is a problem with the rule of law when our commercial teams have a phone call that say, we will take any country's laws in order to dispense justice because we cannot get our own. That is a rule of law crisis. There's one set of books that is shared across the Supreme Court. They don't have more because they burned them in the Civil War. They don't have access to digital copies. The justices all write their decisions longhand. We put a scanner in Sierra Leone because they couldn't ship us the books because it would shut down justice across the country. We put an individual in the Supreme Court, a local person, and we had him start to scan the laws. Well, I'm going to go a little bit off my script and tell you a little bit about Sam. Sam sat down with me at lunch after we gave him the job. And we said, okay, I'll wrap it up really quickly. He asked about the rule of law. And he stopped very long on the rule of law impact tracker where it was child mortality and life expectancy. His daughter died of malaria in the fall. Malaria is absolutely preventable when you have the ability to get the medicine. His mother died in the riots, not because she was in the conflict, but because she had his sister hemorrhaged and they couldn't bring her to the hospital. I am deeply proud to announce with Ravellaw that LexisNexis Rule of Law Foundation is moving forward on this project by announcing an award for the capstone project for the research that truly advances the 4 elements of the rule of law, to be awarded next year at this event. More details will be forthcoming, but we are passionately committed to advancing the rule of law. We welcome your ideas and support, and we thank you for your time. Nick, did I miss anything?
Yeah, so one important part, it's a $2,500 award, so to the researcher or academic that can use the CAP data set to create a project that can most help advance the rule of law. And so we'll publish the definition of the rule of law, but the idea is use the data and find a way to create impact on the rule of law in the US. As Terry mentioned, the rule of law is kind of under intense scrutiny and potentially challenges right now in the US as well as other countries. So the challenge is open to all of you, and we're going to make it open publicly. But if you can use this data set and find something to help advance the rule of law in the US, you'll be eligible to win this award next year.
Thank you.